Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Today I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin, and I'd like to talk about the weather health risk for December 24th, 2025. We do keep additional graphics available at tpatw.com. And for those of you who shop Amazon, we have a storefront, PatientWeather. Purchases made on Amazon through our storefront do support the activities of PatientWeather. Looking at the surface map for December 24th, Christmas Eve Day, it does look rather interesting with massive cool fronts actually stretching all the way from Washington State southward all the way to Southern California, but really moving east across to Omaha up to another low over Illinois, and then as a warm front standing all the way down to South Carolina. You'll note that we have two major centers of activity from the Rockies west, from the coast to the Rockies, and then in the Ohio Valley. Looking at our vitality index, and this is a measure of all of those elements that might have some impact on human health, and our vitality index, of course, is showing a couple of centers of activities, one just stretching here along the Canadian border from Washington, Vancouver actually, all the way over to the northernmost reaches of Minnesota. You'll note that we have a lot of unsettled weather here in Southern California into the Four Corners. We do have some additional activity in this western portions of the Ohio Valley. And then we pick up another significant area of weather health interest in the Northeast, all the way from the Middle Atlantic states to New England. Pressure change, which is always important for those with headache and arthritis, and it looks as if the total area coverage is not quite as great as it has been in the recent past. We have some falling pressure across Vancouver into northernmost regions of Washington State, and a lot of falling pressure here, centered mainly about Iowa. We have some rising pressure right along the Canadian border, Montana, and the most significant area of rising pressure from eastern Michigan, across eastern Ohio, all the way down to Virginia, and then across the rest of the middle Atlantic states into New England. Temperature change, while not significantly or dramatic at this time, just means we've warmed back to about normal temperatures. There is still a little bit of warming here centered about Iowa and up into Minnesota, and then some falling temperatures with moisture and cloud cover here in the Northeast. Dew point temperatures or humidity tells a little bit of a better story, with an awful lot of humidity rising and increasing across the Four Corners, Southern California, all the way on up into Minnesota. And then we have falling dew point temperatures here in the Northeast. And the vapor pressure shows that very much same story. Again, significant Southern California into the Four Corners, a little bit of activity here about Iowa, and then falling vapor pressure in the Northeast. Looking at the change in availability of oxygen, and this is a more complex story, we will have a risk of migraine across much of central and northern California into Nevada, another risk of migraine across Montana, northern half of Montana into North Dakota. A really significant area of migraine risk from Ohio to Virginia, all of the middle Atlantic states, Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and all the way to New England, and all of the Canadian cities from Windsor to Quebec. You'll note we do still have a small risk of migraine in Arizona in the east. We do have a risk of migraine along the Gulf side of the state of Florida. Jumping to asthma and arthritis, we pick up a risk of asthma and arthritis across Washington State and Vancouver. We have another risk of asthma and arthritis from Oklahoma and Kansas into Nebraska, and then up the Mississippi Valley from Missouri into Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Note we have that small area of asthma and arthritis risk, mainly northern Georgia, but picking up a touch of South Carolina and eastern Tennessee. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. Your comments are appreciated, and if you heard, tell us where you're located.